The story of China's island building is really just astounding. And you look at those satellite images and see how much these islands are growing. We did the math quickly and found on average they're expanding at the rate of more than 3.5 acres a day. We wanted to see this for ourselves. We asked for permission. The Chinese government would not grant it, or has not granted it yet. So we decided to travel to the Philippines to find our own way to see them. And here's a look at some of the behind the scenes of this rather incredible journey. We're here in Manila, the capital of the Philippines. This is where our journey to the South China Sea begins. There are no commercial flights to the island of Pagasa where we're headed, so we've had to hire a small plane to get us there. To make the weight limit, we parted with some of our equipment and set off. From the air, we could start to appreciate how scattered these territorial claims are. Below, different features, shoals, reefs, and atolls are claimed by different countries, from the Philippines and China to Malaysia and Vietnam. We landed on the island of Pagasa, which is inhabited by Filipinos, but the Chinese say it's theirs.
We made it.
Not many mayors of 100 or so people are on the front lines of an international dispute like this.
We are a municipality, but the concerns are international.
Mayor Eugenio Bito Onan Jr. calls living here an exercise in sovereignty. Each home, each citizen, each birth or marriage stakes a claim on this land for the Philippines. It's just 13 miles from one of the islands the Chinese have been expanding. How do you see the Chinese here? How do you view them?
Just lately, about 3 years, it has become more, heightened.
What do you mean heightened? Explain that.
The bullying, the harassment.
The mayor told us stories of Chinese warships passing not far from these shores. We wanted to get out on the water ourselves, but bad weather and high seas kept us on land much longer than expected. This is our gear, and this is where we'll sleep. This is Chloe, the producer. This is where I'll sleep tonight. I blew up this, and we'll soon blow up my pillow and put out my sleeping bag. We're sleeping in the municipal building here on Pagasa. 5 days later, the weather cleared. We want to head out into the South China Sea to get some pictures. So we've hired one boat that's out there beyond the reef, and these fishermen are going to ferry us out there. It wasn't easy to convince these fishermen to take us toward Subi Reef, the Chinese island. They worried about being detained by the Chinese. And we worried, at least a bit, about the seaworthiness of this fishing boat, which generally ferries more grouper or squid than foreign journalists. We headed out through the rough waters until we could see the Chinese island emerge on the horizon. This is Subi Reef that we are approaching off the starboard side of the bow here. It has been inhabited by Chinese since 1988, but in July 2014, it started undergoing a massive expansion. Satellite images show dredging equipment on the reef, used to pump in sand to build up the island. As we got closer, we noticed a warning signal in the distance. They've now flashed several warning signals at us. Our captain is starting to get nervous. He tells us it's time to get out of here. We took what pictures we could through the haze and headed back. Later, our captain, Romulo Barcoma, told us he thought getting close to the Chinese island was dangerous. I was worried about your safety and ours. I wanted to get back to Pagasa safely, he said. From the shores of Pagasa at night, the dark horizon turns brighter as their neighboring Subi Reef grows bigger. You're seeing islands sprouting up around you that are much bigger than what you have here.
Yeah, bigger than what God has made in this place naturally.
Satellite images show enough space for an airstrip on Subi Reef, and the mayor of Pagasa joked that he can envision one day sitting on his tiny Philippine island and watching a giant Airbus come in overhead and land on nearby Chinese Subi Reef. Of course, it's quite a difference from Pagasa, which has a grass runway, which has to dry out for 3 days after a heavy rain so that they can land a decent-sized plane on it. It's quite a difference watching these Chinese islands expand so much from this considerably poor Philippine island. Seth Doane, CBS News, Beijing.